Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. Today, I was not in a very good mood to record this episode. But anyway, I don't want to break this consistency, and I decided to record it. So here it is. And I've not been in a super great mood because I've been trying to find the niche that I want to focus on. I've been building several different projects in the last month, but none of them really excited me. I think none of them are really in the niche that I identify myself with. So during the last few weeks, I've been working or reflecting where would I like to be focusing my projects on? Because as a solopreneur, it's very hard if you don't have your products more or less in the same niche. Because you can, especially when you're starting. So if you really find a space where you are passionate about, it simplifies everything. You know their audience, you know their problems, you understand what they need and want, and you can target your products very well to that audience. So if you cannot identify that and you're just wandering around and trying many different problems and projects here and there, it makes your life very hard. And I've been feeling that. I've launching a Chris plugin that had a little bit of sales, but not huge. I launched fitness app, not really fitness app, but an app that would help you finding your workouts when you are injured. I launched a Chrome extension for ChatGPT, for example. I launched an e-commerce application that allows to transform your product page into videos. I'm working on different areas, and none of them there's correlation between them. So I could not leverage what I've been doing and the people that I've conquered for those applications into my other ones. That's one problem. But also, none of them was a topic that I was super engaged with. So my motivation drops and my energy goes away. And then the project, of course, it's not successful. If you don't put a lot of energy, it's not just building that makes it a good project or that makes you successful or not. You need to keep pushing. You need to keep doing marketing. And there it's where your passion is super important. Because if you are not expert or if you don't really like the domain, it would be super hard to make the marketing correctly. Because you need to find the people that you want to address. So you need to understand where they are. You need to talk their language. You need to be involved there. So if you don't like that niche, it's very hard to go on that route. And that's what I've suffered for all these projects. So reflecting on this, I came also to thinking what I've built in the past before starting this part, like this indie hacking part, especially what I've done on Virtually, and see what I like and where I find the place that I most engage with. Because I was never a specialist on anything in my life. I like to do a lot of different things. I always do many different sports. I always do many different topics. And I worked previously in the communication area, in the TV area, in product management, in software development, in architecture of computer systems. So I was never someone that would go super deep in a specific topic. I was always on the generalist side, which is super great as an entrepreneur because you can do many different things. So you don't need to focus only, or you are not specialist on a specific thing, but you can really do a lot of different tasks and have somehow some interest on many different areas, which is super important as an entrepreneur to have this overall view. However, to start a project from scratch, especially as an indie hacker and as a solopreneur, you really need to understand this domain very well, or be super engaged with it. So here I'm finding that I need to find this balance of still not going super deep on a specific area, but still working on areas that I really like and enjoy, which has been hard to find, to be honest. But as I'm mentioning, looking back to what I've done on Virtually and what I've been working on, I think I found finding this area right now. And one thing that we were doing when we started Virtually, one of the slogans that we had is to help people creating meaningful connection on networking events. So we really start virtually, which is a virtual event platform with a focus on virtual meetups. And why do people go to meetups? Most of the times it's because they want to connect with others. They want to learn or to meet new people. It's mostly not about the topic of the meetup, but it's because you are creating a group and going there. And that was one of the things that we started virtually, and the idea came was really to transpose this meetup space into the virtual space. And and essentially focusing on these connections, on these meaningful connections. And virtually evolved also because of COVID into a really very generic virtual event platform. So these connections were the concept of connections were also a little bit lost through the development of Virtually, but we were more focused on providing the customizable experience for the organizer, because on the event industry, the customizability is super important. Every event is different. So we needed to have that also on the virtual event space. So I somehow lost this base concept of Virtually when I initially started it, which is good because we attracted customers and our focus was the customers and not the end user of the events. Because if the customer is happy, that's what they can keep using the platform. Of course, indirectly, this comes also from the participants attending the events, but our ultimate point of contact were the organizers. So that's the way to end that route. Also, during the journey of Virtually, in the middle, we needed to focus or decided to focus also on a specific niche, because this customizability was also very hard to figure out, to really understand or to help creating the message, to help addressing it. So yeah, what the USP of Virtually? Yeah, we have the most customizable platform. It's not strong enough. So we decided to focus or to find where we could focus and having a differentiator. And this exercise led us to start working on virtual team building activities. So we created a new platform, which was Gomada, that unfortunately didn't succeed. We were not able to get the product market fit that we wanted, but we were able to get some change on some customers, on some users, because we were doing the virtual team building activity. So again, here we were really focusing on the connection part itself. And this is something that I really enjoy and I really like, because I'm an introvert person, but working with people and interacting with people on one-on-ones or on small group really energize me. So this is something that I really like, to talk with other people on smaller groups and on one-on-one, know them, create a solid relationship with them. So like today, for example, I was also in a very low energy today, not bad mood, but just low energy. And I just had a call with a friend that I met here on Twitter, and we're exchanging regularly now. And yeah, after that, I was just got a boost of energy. So these type of interactions really make my day, and I really get energy from that, more than just focusing on building and coding and just focus on my own bubble. So this is something that I like. But I don't like the superficial connection that social media promotes, like that you engage with others, you just like a post or comment a post, or now comment a post with AI. So you don't even care about the other person. No, that's not for me. That's not what I like, and that's not what I want to promote. I want to promote really these meaningful connections. Really, people create relationships, not creating followers, but just creating relationship. It's a two-way exercise. So it's not only focusing on getting more people following you, but that you care about who's following you and know about them and understand that. So I don't know exactly where this is going to go, but I think I'm finding this space of helping people, nurturing and understanding and promoting their relationships, their connections, really making better connections online. So I think software can really help us to create better connections with each other. And that I think that's the space that I will try to focus, at least in the next month. And I had another strong signal that I think I'm finding something that I can see myself being patient about it. So besides going to the CrossFit, I also go to the gym because I need to strengthen my leg because I had the surgery end of last year and I'm not recovered yet. So I need to focus some time on doing exercise just for my leg. And during the fitness, you you are with the phone and you can listen to music. But I like to listen. I spend the full day listening to music. So while coding, so I tend to listen to podcasts. Or before I was listening to audiobooks, but now more focusing on podcasts and reading on my Kindle. Instead of listening to podcasts about building in public. So sorry, Harvard, for not listening to your podcast in the last few weeks, which I love your podcast and I want to keep listening to it. But I decided to start listening podcasts about this area of how people can get better connections, and especially it's very linked to networking. But I think it's more than networking. People also tend to think about networking as getting more connections, but it is much more than getting new connections. It's also reviving the connection that you have already. And I started listening to many different podcasts every session that I go there. And I really tune into this podcast, into these people talking about it, or if also TED Talks about it. So it's not a pain for me to listen to people talking in this space. I really feel engaged with it. So I think I'm starting to find this niche, which is really good. I don't know yet how this will going to be or how this will transform into product. I have some ideas. I'm also talking with a lot of different people to understand how they manage their connection. What do they do if they do something or not? Most of people don't do anything. And that was also my case, and it's my case. I do things more ad hoc, and I know that I have a lot of people that value me, but also don't interact with me. And the other way around as well. I value a lot of people, but I don't interact with them because we are following what the algorithm says on our social networks. And sometimes if we don't take actions to talk with them and really keep this connection alive, we just lose these connections. So there's a lot that software can do to help people in this space. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, trying to understand exactly which problems I can solve, which problems are worth solving, because I'm also identifying that many problems in this space are very hard to monetize. If I want to build a business, so I don't want to just build products for the good. I really want to build a business because that's the way I will be able to sustain in the future. So I need to think also about this monetization part. I don't know exactly what it is going to be, but I'm sure that I will play in this space of relationships, connection, focus on the professional world, also a little bit on the personal, not love relationships for sure, friendships, not so sure, because that's also the monetization part is very hard, but trying to see where I can build software and build products to help other people nurturing their current connections or even grow or make new connections and really helping people keeping themselves on the top of mind of their other friends. So there's podcasts that I've listened were really interesting in this space. So one of the person that I've heard the most was David Burkus. So David has also books in this space that I'm going to read as well. But he's saying a lot to make the relationship or to nurturing these relationships. You need to focus not on getting new people into your network, but focus on your what is calling weak ties and dormant ties. So connections that you have that are very weak because you have not interacted a lot, just met once, add it to your LinkedIn profile, to your Twitter profile, follow them and nothing else, for example. And also the dormant ones, people that you interact like few months ago, years ago, and you never interact again, but they know you. So the likelihood that you can get more out of it is much higher than if you just try to find someone new to connect with. So I'll see what I can do in this space, but listening to this podcast also really make me, I'm getting enthusiastic about this area. So this is probably the niche that I want to focus on. Yeah, that's about it. I didn't want to record the podcast today. I was not in the mood, but I like sharing these reflections and these topics. As you've been saying, if you have been following, I'm not being yet super successful in this my indie hacking part. I was successful with Virtually, and that gave me a lot of good experience. But moving now to this more solopreneurship, it's been tough for me. So, and one of the reasons I think is really because of this space that it's not I didn't find yet this niche. So doing this podcast, reflecting about it, sharing my journey is really engaging, or I really like. Also love when people come back and say that they listened to it, or the other day, another friend listened to it and said that, yeah, you made me reflect about my product, and instead of also just going to another, trying quickly another idea that I have, I'll just focus on my product. So this feedback is super great to hear that I can somehow make a small change on people that are listening. So if you have feedbacks from me, let me know. And yeah, I hope you enjoy these podcasts. I hope you have your niche well defined. If not, if you want to brainstorm, talk with me. It's not easy to find the niche. I can tell you, it's not easy at all, especially if you are not specialist on a specific area. But I'm trying to, and can try to help anyone else. So feel free to ping me. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Have a great week, everyone. And until next week, because if I didn't fail this week, I'm sure that it's going to be hard for me to fail another time. So I really hope to keep this consistency, at least until the 100 episode. Let's see if I can do it. And you can ping me or keep me committed on this goal. So counting on you too. Have a great week, everyone. Cheers.